Ready when you are?
This is it, the penultimate Commsverse TV show of 2024. And again, we've got some suppliers from the exhibition, and then we have a speaker to join us as we go. We've got one episode after this, which is starting at 2 o'clock, live with some of the organisers of the event to find out how way they went. But today, we've got some guests in from a number of places. Moraine, have you enjoyed yourself? Been fun?
Until you said the word penultimate.
Oh, really? You want to do
That's
more?
like a three times Scrabble value.
Ah, yes, that's true.
So we
That's
need
true.
to let Nikki know about that word, penultimate.
Penultimate, yes, because of her Scrabble competition. That's good. Have fun?
Yes, I really enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
my first time doing this. So
And,
yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. And talking about first times, our special guest for today from Centre4All, he said, looking down at his notes. All right, Arjan.
Arjan, yes. my
Arjan,
name's Arjan.
welcome.
Thank you so
And
much.
you've
Happy
never
to be
done
here.
this before.
I've never done this before, but I'm looking forward to doing this for the first time. So
Well, if you want to text your kids, you're now live on YouTube.
All right, but they're in a different time zone, so they should be in bed by now.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Where are they staying?
Well, right now they're in the U.S. So, but we live in Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yes, we've been there for the last 8 years, and it's for me it's a fantastic place to stay. Cape Town is gorgeous, and I get to work in the sort of the European time zone, which makes it really nice. And well, for my job at CC for Teams, I get to travel a bit. So happy to be here in London today.
Just for today. But you said the kids
oh,
are
sorry,
in...
no, I've been here for a couple of days.
Oh, okay, that's good. But your kids are in America.
Yeah, for a short family visit.
Not a family visit if you're not there.
No, true, true.
But that's okay. Work is always important. Yeah,
Yes.
we're addicted to it as well. So that's
And
cool.
especially if you can be at a conference like this, this is a nice place to be.
Yeah, we just have food, which is always good. So this is a nice place to be. It's also not as warm as yesterday anymore.
Yeah, true.
So good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, he says, switching back to himself. Call Centre4All.
Yes, Contact Center for All. What we do is we have a Microsoft certified contact center which is natively integrated into Teams, and yeah, we get to showcase that around the globe. So, and we're making it possible for everyone to get contact center functionality at the tips of their fingers if they're using Microsoft Teams.
So why is that important that it's natively integrated in Teams? Why not have just your own solution rolled out?
The thing is, it's part of our philosophy. We've been doing this for over 10 years now. So we started out with CC for Link, then we moved to CC for Skype. And what we've tried to accomplish is, especially with contact center agents and managers, that they don't have to leave the Microsoft UC environment if they're working in that area. So that means they've got one screen, everything at their fingertips, without having to switch between screens the entire time. That's part of our philosophy, making life as easy as possible for the people working with our solution.
I like that. I like easy stuff. Yeah. I'm a simple man. I like easy stuff. Yeah.
Very simple man.
I'm a very simple man.
And
yes.
you do like easy stuff. As long as it's whiskey. So that's cool. And I guess we need to give you guys a thank you. We had a nice little thank you present for the work we're doing here from you guys, so that was very pleasant indeed.
Absolutely.
And that will get tasted at least sometime today or maybe later. We'll see how
Yeah.
that goes.
Absolutely.
And we'll mention it on our podcast where most of the whiskey gets tasted.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
I
we'll-
hope you enjoy it. I hope it's a flavor and a brand that you like, because
Cardew is-
I'm not
is a
that
good
well
one, yes.
acquainted with whiskeys, but it looked pretty.
It looks pretty.
It looked pretty.
Generally, that's a good point with whiskey. If it looks pretty,
Well, if we're talking about pretty and you're living in Africa,
yeah.
we need to talk about the whiskey that we tasted
I knew
2
you were
weeks
going to
ago?
ask me. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
a Namibian whiskey. So, not our first African whiskey, but a second. But this one was a bit weird because So when you're making whiskey, you're using grains and you need to dry that grain.
Yeah.
And to get like peated whiskey,
Yeah.
they do that with peat in the
Yeah.
ground. Now, they don't have peat in Namibia. What they do have is very big elephants.
Absolutely.
And those
And
very
lots-
big elephants, they leave very big doo-doos, which is a great source of fuel. So they were drying the grains with the elephant poo, and they were making whiskey out of it.
Yeah,
Amazed.
put it on your
I
list.
wasn't aware of that, to be honest.
Yeah, and they've got the distillery is about 11,000 feet up a mountain.
Yeah.
A restaurant, beer and distillery, and they've set it all up around the elephants, and it looks beautiful. So we
Fantastic.
wanted to go to Tokyo, and now suddenly we want to go to Africa and to
Yeah.
Namibia and see that. That's cool. So
Very
whiskey
cool.
does come from all kinds of different places. So tell us about your company, exactly what it does, and what Commsverse is bringing out for you.
Okay, a couple of steps back. What we've been doing for the last decade is making sure that study has shown that 8 to 10% of the people using the Microsoft UC platform require additional contact center functionality.
Yep.
So we're addressing that audience, and we're doing it through our indirect model. So we don't sell to clients directly. We are a relatively small Dutch company with a global delivery and local presence. So we want to make sure that in all the important Microsoft markets we are active. So we've got people locally in the UK now as well. We're working with a fantastic partner in Australia. So we're delivering our service globally. And due to the fact that everything seems to be changing, contact centers before used to be really big. It used to take ages to roll out and everything. But right now, smaller companies, more agile working companies need the best possible customer contact, and that is where our sweet spot is. So we see that we're delivering our solution from anywhere to, say, 25 agents to 250 agents. So not the big corporates. They require other services, but especially in that sweet spot is where we're delivering it. And again, it's an ever-changing game. Whenever you think you've got all the functionality that everyone requires, something else comes around the corner. So right now, we're investing heavily in putting in AI and everything into our solution to make sure, and it's a word that I'm sure everyone
We are not
has said.
surprised.
No. And we're trying to do our best to make sure that we're providing the AI functionality and actually delivering on it, not just talking about it, but we're trying to incorporate it and as quickly as we can to make sure it helps the agents but also increases the customer journey or the customer experience.
That's really, really cool. Okay, I have a challenge for you. You're not a big Microsoft UC call center kind of person, are you?
No?
No, so ask our expert here a couple of questions to try and help you understand what value their product is bringing to YouTube. That's what we're recording on. To Teams. All right, so you obviously have your normal calling. There you go. MCT Training 101.
This is building up the pressure for me as well.
Yeah. He's
All
not
right.
building up any pressure, not at all.
She'll kill me later.
No. If I think about call center, it's all about people calling in, routing calls to the right person. And that's sometimes difficult because a person can be in call as well as. How is your product solving all of those issues?
All right, it's a good question and just very good. It's one that I can answer, I think, so I'm happy with this question. Now, one step back, our contact center does so much more than just answering calls. Of course, historically seen, a contact center, you're thinking of 100 people sitting with phones and answering questions. That time, and especially during the pandemic that we've had,
it's gone.
that picture is completely gone. The other thing that's changed over the last couple of years is that customers, as we all are, consumers, as we all are looking of easier ways to interact with the companies or institutions that we want to reach out to or do business with. So we route voice, we route WhatsApps, web chat, email, everything is sort of converged in our omni-channel solution and distributed among the person that is best suited to answer the particular question.
Okay.
a small example, if you call into a company and your native language is Spanish, you'd much rather talk to someone who's able to speak Spanish. Our solution has got skill-based routing, so if you make the choice, I want to speak to someone who speaks Spanish, we will route that call or the email or anything else to that particular person. Making sure that the person that's working, so the agent, gets to display their skills, but also the customer or the client gets to be helped in the best possible way, which suits them.
Yeah.
So I hope
Does that mean like when I call that I get like this, for Spanish press 1, for English press 2?
Yeah, yes, that could be devised that way, but now with the interaction or the integration of AI, it's much easier. You can they can answer the phone and
I
they
can
can
just
say,
say, hola,
hola.
yo una pregunta.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And then you could say, listen, I would like to speak to someone from the sales department or the technical department. With AI, it's detected, so the speech is detected, the language and everything else, and it's routed to the most suitable person. So even in this kind of thing, it is really stepping up.
And even if the most suitable person is not able to help and he needs to forward it to his colleagues, are the other agents able to follow up? Who is busy? Who is it?
Everything has to be, of course, you have to make sure the architecture is done properly.
Yeah.
So if you do everything correctly with our solution, you can easily route the calls and everything. So if someone doesn't answer, you can say, all right, a client should be waiting maximum of 30 seconds, but perhaps 15 seconds is too long. So as soon as it hits certain parameters, it will disperse it.
But then
somewhere.
it's actually coming in. But my question was more, if I accepting a call and I'm not able to help that person, but I know which colleague is able to, is the agent able to see which of that colleague is available and how they can reroute it to
Absolutely. And with Microsoft Teams, you can see which people are available, what their status is. Our solution also has sub statuses. So if someone is out to lunch, you're not going to connect the call through. If someone is in an internal meeting, you're not going to connect it through. But if they're available, you can even send them a chat message. Listen, I need some help because I'm unable to help this person. Can you jump in on the call with me, or can I get you to take the call over? Everything is there.
Very good.
Neat.
You're happy? Yeah?
Yeah, well done.
I accepted the challenge. So.
Well done. That's cool. So, Maureen, you're up for a challenge? So imagine you're managing this call center service. So what information do you need to have about your calls?
What do I want to have from my calls? I want to know, as a manager, how many calls I get in, of course. How many calls are solved within, let's say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. How many calls stay unanswered.
Whether the callers are happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like some customer sentiment, things like that. That would be things that I want to know. Yeah.
Well, simple answer to what you're saying, or simple the requirements: yes, 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 and yes. Everything you've said, of course, we're able to do. We are able to also, if needed, listen into calls as a manager. If you need additional resources, you're able to streamline the resources as well. So due to the fact what we chatted about a couple of seconds earlier, if you see the statuses of people, and if they're doing some sort of internal administrative work, but lots of calls or lots of communication is coming in, you as a manager are able to set their status to, you know what?
Override
You're
that,
going to be
yes.
taking calls, or you're going to be answering emails. Of course, we've got real-time dashboards where we see the calls or all the communication coming in. Who's handling it? Has the call been waiting long? Has this person been transferred once, twice, 3 times, or whatever? And another thing with our solution, it comes with standard PCI compliant recording. So everything that you need can be recorded as well for training purposes and all those kind of things.
Awesome. Awesome. That was great. So I quite like this idea, and we found this wonderful idea on the second to last call.
Can we set a challenge for him to
Oh,
answer?
there we go.
I was just thinking about that. As somebody that calls into a contact center because he has a problem, how do you want the solution to act in your best interest?
Oh, that's an interesting one. So, I'm going to switch to me for a thing about. So, I get calls from users that are happy and unhappy. Sometimes I want to just be able to talk to the right person. Sometimes I'm quite happy if they email me a solution. So there's using different multimedia and obviously talking to the right individuals. How do you translate or create that call journey to make sure that the customer is actually happy and providing you what you need?
Several layers, of course. At the end of the day, even clients that call in to a certain company might be irritated or unhappy. At the end of the day, you'd like them to go out being happy or feeling at least heard or listened to. We're able to, with our solution as well, we've got real-time sentiment analytics. So if a client is unhappy and certain keywords are voiced out, then perhaps even someone else can join a call to make sure the person is helped in the appropriate manner.
And feel supported, I guess.
Exactly,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
at the end of the day, you just want to be heard in any way, shape or form. And with our solution as well, it could start out with a web chat message. But a web chat isn't going to cover everything. So you could scale up to either a WhatsApp or a call or even a video conference in order to really see the person. So we have got everything at our fingertips to make sure the customer journey is lifted up and that the people are heard. That is basically our entire philosophy.
When I did call center, when I managed a team of people on a call center, and it was a while ago, we used to have situations where you could call somebody in to join the call because it was either troublesome or they were talking about something that they didn't know. And the operation, once we started doing the statistics, the ability for the call center handler to be able to call in their supervisor, even if it was just to listen, or so they could go off and get the next part of the story, was really important. I guess that stuff must be second nature now.
It is, and it's a standard feature. So we've got things like listen in, barge in, a chat in. So any
barge
kind
in, I like that.
Yeah, the barge in is if something goes wrong, someone can step in and say, listen, to make sure everyone is happy.
The supervisor's sitting there and one of his team goes, I don't care what you fucking think. You talk to me like that anymore. The supervisor can go, yes, sir, how can I help you?
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant stuff. It's amazing amount of control on top of MS Teams, isn't it, that you end up adding?
It is.
Good. So you've learned something else new today now?
Of course.
It's been an education.
We learn every session.
Every session. That is very, very true. Well, your time is up, kind of, which is full. I'd like to be able to continue this.
It's been wonderful, and for a first time, it was good.
Excellent. I'm glad you're comfortable.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the afternoon and your journey back. Is it back south to Africa?
Tomorrow morning, Cape Town, leaving at, my flight out is at 6 a.m.
Baines, by the way.
Yep.
Baines is the whiskey from Cape Town.
Oh,
where the distillery
I've
is.
seen that one.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll bring that next time.
I look forward to it. Thanks very much, Aaron.
Thank you
See
so
you
much.
later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Good, clear solutions.
Now you know what Luware is doing.
Sorry?
Now you know what Luware is doing, or supposed to be doing.
Luware?
Yeah, we put that
Yes.
onto our call centers for the call customer center on top of Teams. That's what we use.
Yeah, I was not involved in that project.
No, okay,
so-
I thought you were involved
Alright.
in it. Oh, that's
Alright.
cool.
Okay.
You had fun?
Hey.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
ladies.
Hey, how do you do?
Hey.
Make sure you speak close to the microphone.
I can speak, I just can't hear you too well.
Yeah, we have that problem, so
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
speak
I'll
up,
try,
and if
I'll
you
try.
do the same, so that's cool. Kurmi Software. Why don't you tell us about you and your company first?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm walking around this event and there's lots of great technology. Kurmi's role is really provisioning and management of the technology that goes around the UC industry. So we've been around for about 15 years, focused on provisioning, day 0, setup, day 1, initial provisioning of the user, and day 2, which is moves, adds, changes, and deletes.
So provisioning of what? Licenses
Yeah,
or
licenses, features, all the configuration settings for the individual user. So, as you can imagine, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, it's a lot of lot of details on the sort of PBX type features, and now it's more about the fuller UC estate. So it's making sure users are active on all the different systems that are used. Lots of companies clearly use more than one. They might use Microsoft, but they're also using other tech, or there's old tech. They have two systems. And in all of this, as you might imagine, the target that we find most receptive are very large enterprises. So the problem of provisioning, and it's a problem of IT automation, right? I mean, it's IT automation. You've got great technology. Your IT team's not that big. You want to spend your resources on the tech, not on the team to manage the tech.
Yep.
So you automate. So software can do it better. And we've really made hay in this space among very large enterprises, and now more and more service providers.
So making some assumptions here, you build on top, the layer on top of MS Teams using the standard Microsoft stack?
We do, yeah. So Cisco, Microsoft, but in this,
whichever the base platform
whichever
is,
system, Avaya, Alcatel-Lucent historically. But for Microsoft, PowerShell integration and obviously Graph integration and provisioning via those tools. And on one hand, I'd say there's two things we do. One hand is the connector, right? The API integration, but that's pretty commodity at this point. A lot of people have built integration. So it's really the enterprise tooling, what you do once you've already built that integration.
Yeah.
And these are things like delegation, who's doing the work, automation, integrating into directories, and having something come from a directory and the rest of the provisioning is automated, no human hands. So it's time savings, it's error savings, it's, and you mentioned licenses. I mean, in the cloud world, a lot of it can be cost savings.
Yeah.
So you see, you don't want to spend money on licenses you're not using. And all of these things. And underpinning it all is security. I think making sure the information is encrypted and it's not accessible everywhere.
And is it only on Teams or also different Microsoft 365 tools? Is it only on Teams or other M365 tools as well?
So it's right now it's Teams, and it's Teams mainly Teams Phone. So we actually have an interesting technology that we've released recently. I'll tell you about, but we're very much UC estate focused. So it's been, the different manufacturers who make these voice phone systems. But actually, there's, with Microsoft, I mean, it's so quickly beyond voice. It's into collaboration, and then even beyond that into some of the other tools in Office 365 and Teams. But
yeah. All right. Where does the name come from? Kurmi?
Kurmi.
It sounds like something exotic, like flavor on top of my rice.
Yeah, great, right, it is. So Kurmi is, by origin, we're a French company. So the company started, a spin-off of a larger French industrial about 15 years ago. I guess 13 years ago is when we spun off. Kurmi, however, is, I believe it's a more minor Hindu deity.
Oh,
that I think
okay.
was the parent company is called Niji, also sort of a unique name, and I think the founder, these are sort of names and a world that he was quite interested in.
Nice.
He's a French gentleman who's our chairman of our board, and so it is a unique name.
We had a company in yesterday, and they were saying that they basically take the word cloud, and then they look at it in different languages, and the one they like becomes the name of their new product or their new division. So yes, all these wonderful names. It was one of these, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Nuvola.
Yeah.
Nuvola was the Italian word for.
Yes, apparently it's the Italian or Portuguese word for cloud. So that was. So yes, getting names is an interesting game.
The whole name game is fascinating. One of my early business ideas was to create a corporate name generator. But over the last 15, 20 years, these things have evolved so much. I mean, it used to be you'd name something like really close to what you did, and then it became totally not at all what you did.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know, it's sort of going back towards, you want people to understand what you do from your name. But I don't think you can from Kurmi. I think
and I think also it's about how cool it sounds as well, and what it looks like on an iPhone and on the television channel and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. So tell me how the organization's structured. So do you tend to do custom solutions in most of the case, or do you have products that you're creating? So do you have a product set, or do you tend to do customizations after consulting with the customers?
Yeah, great question. So the parent company originally, is a professional services shop. So we have that a bit in our DNA historically. The technology, and again, a lot of professional services shops really try, the idea of building a product from what you're doing day to day was something that was front of mind when Kurmi was founded. So there's a huge toolkit that's quite customizable. Many of our deployments historically have been, taking the framework and wrapping it around the processes, the workflows and processes that large companies have. Over the years, we've seen that deployment time frame go down and down as we've tried to, take what we've learned from deployments and bring it into the product. So more and more it is a product. Still about 10% of our revenue is professional services deployment.
Right.
So it's a pretty small amount for, from where it used to be. But I think what you said is right on. Where we've done well in the market, because there's other people who do provisioning, service management. Our corner of the market that's been particularly good is the corner that requires a bit more customization and flexibility. So at the core of our product, we have something called the Service Factory, which is really a low code. It's not no code yet, but it's a low code way to create workflows that are really mirror what you want to do. Something comes in from ServiceNow, it hits a bunch of different, makes a bunch of different decisions, provisions to 3 or 4 systems, sends an email out to the new user, things like that, and you can customize it. So that ends up being what large companies do.
Cool. Right. So in terms of the end deliverable product, do you then maintain it and support it, or do you hand it over to their internal teams? Because I guess the more business you're creating, the more, I won't call it debt, but more support contracts you end up with.
So, like a lot of companies, we are, for several years, we've been in the process of moving from something that we sell as on-prem software to a cloud version. And I'd say because of our target market being larger and maybe more security sensitive, it's gone a bit slower. So we have still a large installed base of versions of our software running on-prem, but obviously far and away the momentum is SaaS, and that's much better because it becomes one version and not a lot of versions of your software running around in the wild. So it's both, but we're in the middle of that transition from on-prem cloud.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Because you also need to keep up with all the other vendors, because you probably want to integrate with those, and while you're provisioning a new user, so that they also are provisioned in that other software. So how do you keep up with all that?
A lot of work. Like any company that's doing integration work, some percent of our team, probably about a third, is focused on maintenance. So we're, lately it's been crazy because, we integrated with Skype for Business, obviously all of the Cisco variants, and those are all going to cloud and WebEx and Teams. And so a lot of our effort over the years has been keeping up. It's good that there's multiple players in a space.
Yeah.
It's bad if they change all the time, models. And Microsoft has hit a great one now. But for the 15 years ago, I think it was it OCS at that point, and then Skype for Business, and then finally Teams. So we've been there for the journey, and the enterprises, we're there because the enterprises are there for the journey too. Yeah.
So how did you deal with things like new Teams? Because Teams as a platform changed completely from the old Teams to new Teams, changing the canvas and that kind of stuff. Does that affect the way you deliver your apps?
Hasn't, no. Quite minor, yeah. It hasn't affected us too much, yeah.
That's good news.
Some of the things that affect us are, API changes and the back end. The front end is pretty invisible, but so one example, so PowerShell has been, the upgrades in PowerShell always cause us to have to sort of get ahead and update the software before it comes out, and that there's always a bit of urgency and a rush there. Pretty normal, right? I mean, that's the nature of the business. But no, it's great. I mean, this trend towards it's hard for IT departments to keep up with all this. So, we've seen a lot of companies sort of do this as in-source script writing projects or spreadsheet management, and then that slowly they're like, forget it. Or in a migration, they're like, okay, now's the moment where we don't want to do this in-house anymore. Or in some cases, the voice teams have been sort of downscaled in favor of collaboration teams and IT, and that's a good moment for us as well.
Cool.
Step in. Yeah. Okay.
I guess then, as a final question, what's the best idea you've had from the show for work that wants to be done by any customers coming up with weird ideas and weird changes or specific requests?
So one thing, one idea, one sort of technology that we've released it recently, but being at this show, it really made me excited in particular about it, is so PowerShell still exists, right? I mean, a lot of people are using it
Absolutely,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and the scripting is, everyone knows how to script. You sort of have to. So we've built this within our core enterprise tooling. We have a way to bring whatever PowerShell scripts you have, and we manage them to do anything within the PowerShell scripts too. So this is beyond UC.
Yeah.
And so I've been listening to people talk about, we built this script that does X, Y, and Z, or and we're giving it away, or you go to my GitHub page and pull it down, and that's amazing. On our software, you can pull it in and use it in delegate access to it, make it secure, keep all the log files that are generated, create rollback if an action is wrong. So basically all the edifice around running PowerShell scripts in a more protected environment. I'd say
a team-based environment as well, because you can then share your scripts and
So you're an expert in PowerShell. You put your scripts in, you make it work, and then you delegate that out to people who know nothing about PowerShell, and you give them an easy button. And that's been something that we've been working on it for a while, but talking to people here and seeing what's available. And Microsoft has a product, is it called Just Enough Access? I think it's a GUI for PowerShell that they haven't really maintained, and I think that's what gave us the idea.
ISE.
I think it is.
Yeah. So now with PowerShell 7, we can't use that anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I hate it because I love ISE. It is so easy. Now I have to use Visual Studio Code, which is way too complex for a simple guy like me.
So
Don't say it.
So we're trying. So what we're trying to do with our cloud version is to, instead of making deployments you can use the technology take a while and be sort of so heavy, make it quite easy. And Microsoft's been Microsoft World has been a great starting point, especially with this sort of and a good hook of like PowerShell script management. Has been good.
To get in what Marijn just told, you can't say it, but I can. That's why you call me if you have a PowerShell list.
Exactly, yeah. But if we would have like a solution that where we could just share all our scripts, then that would be brilliant.
The customers like it. I mean, it's really. I mean, this is a great crowd here. This is a great event. I mean, it's really been great seeing the kind of people that are talking. I mean, both opportunities for enterprises and partnerships, but really also the ecosystem is really important.
So this product of yours, is it a box-based or a cloud-based interface that allows all these scripts to be uploaded and protected? How is it presented?
It's both, yeah. No, so we have it. So we haven't, all of our versions of software at this point are still deployable on-prem.
Yeah.
But they're automatically updated in our SaaS delivery. So it's available today. It's
interesting.
It's there, and there's actually some people at this event who I've talked to and our team's talked to who are excited to log in and try out their scripts and see how it works. And we're really excited to hear their feedback because you get better software by listening to people who are experts.
No, you do.
Yeah. It's a great event.
Well, that was excellent.
Nice.
From Kurmi Software. That was really good, actually, and a completely different subject, one that we've not covered before.
No, exactly. No.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Really nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's good.
It's been a great event, and looking forward to the next one.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Right.
Enjoy the rest of the
Thank
show.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. You're good. Thanks.
All right.
Wow.
Now that sharing scripts thing.
I think I might be very interested in that.
Yeah.
So
I
that
should
will
have
be
led with
interesting.
that, but yeah, then again, this is a unified communications conference mainly based for teams. Yeah.
No, but
That
it's
would be
interesting. I mean, we talk about how you're going to stop your help desk or your service desk running particular PowerShell scripts, or making sure that they have the rights to run them. I'd like to see something on there about running the test script and doing a test on it to make sure there's nothing in there that is going to damage something or give it
Yeah.
a rating.
Can
That would be
adjust.
quite cool.
Just like we had
Perfect.
last year with one customer where something
Yeah.
went wrong in the PowerShell script and lots of damage was done.
Yeah, because they had no variable set, so it
Yeah.
applied a setting to every single machine in the building. And that setting was disconnect from Active Directory.
I had nothing to do with that one.
No, it wasn't you. It
You
wasn't
were
you.
looking like me, like you know what we're talking about.
Not at all. Not at all. So Tom's joined us. Tom
Hello.
Morgan, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Everybody's more relaxed now.
Day two,
Yes.
right? Everyone's
It's
just
a
like,
couple of
"Okay,
hours
we're
to
good," after
go.
lunch.
We
Have
had
you-
some food. We're not as sweaty as yesterday
Right.
anymore. It's more relaxed.
It was warm yesterday.
Yeah, the ice cream stand has opened up, I see. So
Where were you yesterday, ice cream
yeah.
stand?
Back
Yeah.
at
They've obviously still got ice cream to get rid of, and they know that they're on the last few hours of the event.
yeah.
So that's cool. So you spoke yesterday, or is it this
I spoke
morning?
this morning.
Excellent.
So-
How did it
I know,
go?
that's complete
Maybe-
lie. I spoke yesterday and this morning, sorry.
maybe
Um,
go back
yeah.
a step. Who is Tom for the people that don't know him?
This is Tom.
Yes, but what does he do? Who is he?
Oh,
Where
there
is
you
he?
go then.
Why
Well,
is
why
he
didn't you
here?
ask him? There you go.
I just did.
So hello, I'm Tom. Yeah, I'm a Microsoft MVP. I'm a developer by trade, and I've done development in the sort of Microsoft stack for ages. Back in Skype for Business days, I would Link before that, into Teams. Now it's all Microsoft 365. In fact, now it's all Copilot and Azure AI and all those things. So yeah, the development's where I'm happiest. Do architecture stuff as well, and then the last couple of years, focusing a lot on like customer experience stuff and how that looks in the Teams world and Microsoft world. So
Yeah. So now everybody knows who Tom is, and now you can go on with your questions.
He's a developer. I don't ask questions around developers. It's over to you guys.
it's fine.
I know Tom for years. We even had a sweaty moment together earlier this week.
You did? Oh, you know.
A sweaty
Very
moment
early in the
together.
morning.
all the best people.
You
start
guys
their
do
day-
know that sounds very awful.
I know.
That was his
Yeah,
intent.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy the gym with Moraine?
I did.
And
I
the
did,
sauna.
Yes. I walked
And the
in,
massage.
I walked in. There was some European house something happening. I'm not
Yes,
sure what it was.
yes.
Like,
Oh, you got music on.
Yeah, of course. I was the only one in the room, so I just had my phone on full blast and had some techno. Because that it's like racing stripes on the car. It makes your car go faster. If you
Techno.
play loud techno music, it makes your workouts better and your muscles grow faster. That's clinically proven.
I believe you. I believe
Sorry,
you. So
I
what
shall-
was your presentation on,
Our
Tom?
presentation yesterday was about Azure Communication Services and Microsoft Teams and how they can work together. So Azure Communication Services it's a whole platform for developers to build voice over IP stuff, SMS, email. In fact, it's the same thing that Teams is built on under the hood. All the sort of voice, video, desktop sharing, all that stack is actually not Teams at all. It's something else that Microsoft call IC3. So if you do like LinkedIn video, that's also the same thing. Dynamics customer service, same thing. This is like an API for that. So developers can build on top of that, which is kind of exciting. So yeah.
All right, cool. I just saw yesterday that they are gonna change the Citrix teams or the VDI teams, like do a complete overhaul. Does that have any effect on the way how you're building things?
Yeah, I saw that too, but I haven't sort of dug into it. It'll be interesting to see how that is delivered. Like more and more, this stuff is very web-based and it's
Yeah.
very cloud-based, and it's kind of at odds with that VDI world. So I think it's good. It's really good to see them continue to invest in it because that's really important for lots of people. That VDI experience is still key for lots of companies. So it's good to see them continue to invest in it. But it is a technical challenge, I think, that they have. So
Yeah, the way they tend to do it at the moment is that they offload all the video and voice stuff. So I guess they've got replacements for that, or they're going to continue to that, but do a better job of it, I guess.
Yeah, I would guess that they're leaning more into the WebRTC side of things, and maybe they've got a provision for doing that over VDI, and offloading it out. I don't know, but it's
yeah. You would kind of expect that they would just now with the one Outlook, that they would also go with a one Teams that would run on all form factors and all environments.
They sort of do. There is I think that there is kind of like a single code base underneath most of it, with some variations around the client, like mobile client and things like that. But certainly, I think if you look at the Windows desktop application, it's a thin wrapper around the web experience. It's not Electron anymore. That's old classic Teams. Like the new one, it's not that, but it's the same principle. Like it's the same thing. WebView 2, web container. It's just their own hand-rolled version, not the Electron one they acquired.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this morning you were in the MVP Ask Me Anything session. What exciting questions did you got?
That was really good fun actually, because I quite like doing those because you can't prepare for them, so there's no preparation needed, but you also don't know what the questions are going to be, so it's kind of exciting. We had some good questions around sort of how do you push out the pace of change to users, and how do you continue to bring users on board with you, and how much of that should be top down, so IT led in terms of user adoption and change management, and how much of that should be bottom up, how much should users get involved in that change process? How much should they take ownership, if you like, of their own change, be willing to take on change and sort of accept that change is a part of 2024 office work, so that was really interesting. And we touched on the MVP program a bit as well, and just kind of talking about that.
Yeah, we had Nikki with us. She was also in that session, so she already explained also a little bit, so
Yeah, so that's cool.
I can't hear much for the moment.
We have to do something about the PA stuff.
Yeah, we just turn it off.
Yes. We tried to do yesterday, but that just got the whole...
that was you, is it? Yeah.
Maybe.
They were going to turn it off.
Yeah. But no.
So what was the strangest question you got asked in the...
there was a good one around what's your favourite Copilot prompt? Just kind of it feels like it's one of those ones that if I'd thought about it, I should have had one prepared because it's such an obvious one, but it took me a bit by surprise. But just for the record, is what would you do differently? So I often, when you summarise a Teams meeting or you take your actions, I will say in that meeting, what would you have done differently? And it's quite an interesting you get some interesting responses that sometimes they're useful and sometimes they're not. But sometimes you get some really good ones of well, actually, when you said this, that wasn't very clear because two different people had to ask for clarification or something. So try and think about making it clearer, that kind of thing. So. That's why I do that quite a bit. So it's interesting.
No, I think everybody now needs to have an elevator pitch and a AI prompt.
Yeah.
My name's Steve Dolby. I'm a consultant, and now I head up infrastructure for Linus. And my favourite AI prompt is
summarize my emails of this week.
Yes, create me an elevator pitch that's better than this one.
After an entire conversation with AI, what was my first prompt that I need to write to have this outcome?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're trying to think of your best prompt.
Yeah. Now the question is, do I want to do the best prompt that got the best results, or just one that is funny and insightful?
Insightful. AI and insightful. Do you think that goes in the same sentence?
Of course.
Really?
Of course. Why
Okay.
not?
Well, write me you say, no, just to make us feel good, they decided to make a weird noise with the PA. So what's an insightful result from an AI prompt? Something you hadn't thought of before?
Good summarized emails.
Because you couldn't be bothered to read it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example that is tied to Copilot extensions, which is what I've been spending quite a bit of time on, plugins, Copilot plugins, which are an interesting way of getting more data into Copilot at the time at which you need it. So for instance, let's say New Year's resolution. Like you have this whole thing, I'm going to write better emails and I'm going to do it in these 5 different ways. I'm going to keep my emails short. I'm going to be kind to people. When I criticize, I'm going to do it constructively, blah, 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 blah. And then that's great. And like you never come back to those. But like if you could summon those up in a Copilot, so if you could say to Copilot, like, how should I be writing, what are the things I said I would do to write better emails? And it will come back and say, that's fine. You're still not going to remember to do that. What you might remember to do, though, is look at the emails I sent last week, compare them against the 5 things I said I was going to do better emails, and call out the differences. Now, I wrote that a couple of weeks ago, and I've been talking about it since. Sometimes it comes up with some really interesting things, and the example from last week I had was one of the things was, to be honest, okay? One of the things was be honest, right? And a couple of days before I ran it, I was in a to and fro conversation with somebody I was going to go and present at, like a user group presentation. And internally we were putting some slides together, 2 of us speaking, put the slides together, and this person wanted it for review before the thing happened, right? Sent it over. And there were quite a lot of slides because we were going to like hop about a bit, right? And did that. And then and he came back and said, seems like there's a lot of slides, are you sure you'll be able to get it in 30 minutes? And we had a call about it, and I moaned a lot, like with this other person, we're like, we've done this before, it's like, don't worry, we got it. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, wrote back the email to be like, fine, like kind of explained it politely, sent it up. And then in that week, Copilot called it up, and it's like, be honest. It's like, the email is honest, but the overtone is that, like, basically what we've been moaning about, It's like, I didn't put that in the email. How did you, like, that was really kind of interesting. It was like,
wow.
he called it out.
Cool
It
that
like,
he picked that up.
Yeah, it was like, you were honest, but, like, it made it sound like you were questioning, like, his questioning of the thing, yeah. So it was really interesting. Yeah.
So to a simple man here who knows nothing about development and code, you managed to write an AI, not really a prompt, a script then, that is just checking every email and giving you feedback.
Yeah, so it doesn't do it like automatically.
Yep.
Like I have to go to it. Because Copilot can do 2 things, and it's the combination of the 2 things. The first is that you can write a plugin, so when you give it a particular sort of action, it rather than going to try and answer it itself with its own built-in LLM or your data, it goes, oh, I should call a plugin now, because, so when I say, like, what's my communication manifesto for email, that's enough of a unique phrase that it's like, oh, I should go and call the API, or the plugin, sorry, to go and pull that back, right? So that's that extra extension bit of code I've written. But then the prompt is to combine that to be like, look at the emails I sent last week, look at my communication manifesto for email, and call out the differences. So
Okay.
yeah, so I can do, and you have to do it on a schedule. Like maybe one day you could automate that thing. Like we'll be able
No,
to
it
do
doesn't
that,
matter, but the whole being able to go against this manifesto and say, hey, compare it to that.
Yeah,
It's nice.
it's kind of an interesting way of using those plugins to like bring extra data in that becomes useful, because the elevator pitch, if you like, for the extensions is all about calling APIs or actions, and the canonical example that Microsoft always uses, like, what's the next flight from here to there or something, and it's like, oh yeah, flights, go and call the API, give back the answer. But you could use it for anything. Like in this case, I just hard-coded, because it made a good demo, I just hard-coded like what those things were. But
Nice.
you could do anything.
So I guess in reality, because we've had a lot of conversations with people about things like how you can confirm, how you can do these things and make sure your PowerPoint presentations align to your corporate standards. I guess you could use a similar kind of model to say, hey, look, this is the kind of terminology I want to use in my letters or my documents or my whatever, and you can then
wait for the
run a
company
test.
policy Copilot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like your logo is not in the right place, you're not using the right color schemes, you've not been sufficiently diverse over here, like there's going to be all sorts. Yeah.
Nice. That's interesting.
But then, of course, the question is always, how much do you want to limit the power and the creativity of a AI system versus getting that in line with what you want it to do? So it's a little bit like you've been talking about as well. Like if you close all the information off, then your AI doesn't have the full power to run, to do the crazy cool stuff that it should do.
Yeah.
No, but I think if you adopt and change it right, you say, look, these are the restrictions within which you can be creative.
Yeah.
And then people need to understand that that's where their remits are. But I like the idea that it would then tell you. You could also then tell it, let me give you some ideas. So you know, eventually this is there's so much more out there for Copilot to actually help with. It's, I've never even thought about it. Don't even know whether we could come up with the limits of it.
No.
There's a podcast here, isn't there? What we want Copilot to do that it doesn't today.
Yeah, I want a Copilot that can replace my internet.
Yeah, I think
Because,
yeah.
right now it doesn't talk to pages yet, or it doesn't talk about pages, but I'm guessing that's something that's pretty easy to set up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is definitely, like, you shouldn't, I think we're going to move away from the hunter-gatherer way of information finding, you know.
That's a really cool term.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that.
Yeah, but like, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's going to be much more like you say what you want, like and we go through these iterations. We've been through it a few times before, like web pages to apps. Like that's that hunter-gatherer now. It's like you move to like a more of a shepherd model, right, where you're looking after these apps, because that's not great either, because now you've got to pick the right apps and look after them and keep them up to date and all that sort of stuff. Whereas this is the next, like the McDonald's drive-through, if you like, of information, right? You just say what you want and then it shows up, and you don't care where it comes from, like particularly, like it's a sufficient quality, like McDonald's maybe a bad
It's
example,
sufficient.
but like, it's a quality level.
Yeah.
But like that's how we're moving to our data, So yeah.
Nice.
I love that.
Right.
The McDonald's drive-through model of AI. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a whole session to be made about just that journey.
Yeah.
All right. So overall, you've enjoyed Commsverse. Not
Yeah.
your first Commsverse, I guess.
Not my first, no. I'm not sure I've been to every one, but I feel like I've been to most of them.
Yeah, there's
it's
5,
really-
so
yeah,
5
I
is.
can't
I've
remember.
done all 5.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Top 4. That doesn't
Fine.
matter.
We asked Mark. He wandered past when the other day, and he said this is the 5th.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's the 5th, but I can't remember if I've been to all. I don't know. It's a great conference. Like it's
Yeah.
just about. It's small enough that you can get around everyone. It's got all the right people in it. It's got global reach now. People fly across the world for it. Yeah, it's a really nice networking event. It's really good, obviously, to catch up with everyone. It's really nice to see new people. We were having this discussion last night about, in some places it feels like our industry is stagnating a little bit, but like some places there's real, like, green shoots of new people showing. And I know Mark makes that real effort as well with all of the other organisers who choose the speaking slots and stuff like that to make sure new people are coming on all the time.
Cool.
So it's
All
really
right.
good.
Well, we're about done. I think
Yeah.
it's ice cream time, because I can see the ice creams there and I don't want them to go and pack it away.
Yeah.
So I fancy an ice cream before we get on to our final episode of the day. So Tom, thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining us. It was good fun.
Thank
I
you.
don't think we've done a developer yet, have we? So there you go. You're our first developer.
Hey.
Yeah,
we
she
have,
wasn't
we
a
have we have an
guest.
in-house developer.
We do, yes. There you go.
Always underestimating the people.
Oh. Well, if you'd like to do the close, then we're all good.
No, it's all fine. I'm
I
fine.
don't, I'm not underestimating you. Look up at the camera. Say goodbye to everybody.
Well, goodbye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Tom. And we're on.